It's verse 11 of the 12th chapter, Gospel of Matthew. We're in the midst of some controversial conversations that Jesus has with religious leaders, focusing on what is and is not permissible on the Sabbath. And the question has just been put to him in the synagogue, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? As we saw in the previous verse, the religious leaders are, of course, not motivated by any sincere interest in the question, but more a desire to, as it reads somewhat literally, to categorize Jesus. That is, to find some category in which to put him, which will give them the legitimate right to accuse him, and that's what they have in mind. So Jesus responds here, of course, well-known classic response, ho. This is the article that means the, but it can idiomatically stand as the subject of a verb, which it does here, so then it would be rendered he. So, ho, he, apen, from lego I say, third person singular, aorist active indicative. So he said, postpositive da, but he said autois, indirect object, dative, plural, masculine, he said to them, that is to these religious leaders. Tis is an interrogative pronoun in the masculine, nominative singular. It goes along with anthropos, so we'd say what man, formulating a question here, and then the verb is the future, third person singular, future active indicative of a me I am. So what man is there, will there be is the notion, but of course we bring it over into English as a kind of subjunctive. What man would there be? Future tense here. Hegs, from ek, means out of. Humon is the genitive. From among you is the idea, or out of you. So what man from among you would there be? And then hos, this is a relative pronoun, who, and it's in the nominative, who hexe, from echo I have. This is the first person singular future active indicative, who would have, you might say, again introducing a subjunctive element to it. So what man among you would have? Probaton, from probaton, this is the accusative, it means a sheep, it's singular. It is a neuter noun, and so having a sheep, and then modifying it hen, the adjective, means one, so having one sheep. Kai and ian, used in non-indicative moods for if, so if, impesen, from pipto, this is to fall, the impese gives the idea of falling into something, is the notion, and so this is the third person singular aorist active subjunctive, having one sheep, and if it falls, or should fall, tuto. And so here we have the demonstrative pronoun. If this one is the idea, it's the going along with probaton, so it's in the neuter. If this one, this sheep, should fall. Tois, this is the dative, plural, with a sabasen of Sabbath. So with should fall. The dative here is sometimes called the dative of reference. Something like that should fall with reference to the Sabbath. It's used in the plural to say simply on any given particular Sabbath that might be envisioned. So if this one should fall in a Sabbath situation, ace, preposition, takes the accusative, bothounon, from bothounos. It's related to the word for the deep, but it simply means a pit or a ditch or something like that, fall into a ditch. Of course, unable to extricate itself, stuck there. Uki, not, would not, is the idea. Kratese, from krateo, means to take something with force. Of course, the word, the krat there, you might say, is related to the English words that have the same notion. A democrat, for example, is one that says there's power to the people. An autocrat, one's power to oneself, sort of notion. This is to take by force, take it by force. Auto, of course, is the in the accusative, the direct object. It is also neuter because it's going back to probaton, a neuter noun for sheep. And take it, kai Agere from agero means I raise up. Once again, this is the future, and raise it up. So what man among you, if he had a sheep that fell into a pit on the Sabbath day, wouldn't find it in his heart to lift that sheep out of the pit? And of course, at that point, you would say they're violating the Sabbath, because that is a certain kind of work, and it could have been postponed to the next day, presumably, but the human compassion is going to overrule the immediate strictures of the law. And of course, Jesus is saying, if you'll do that for an animal, then how much more should such compassion be extended to a human being who is in the grip of such dire need?